Hi everyone, let's take a look at reading reorder paragraphs today. Now, this can be quite a confusing task, I'm sure you know, as you read 4 or 5 sentences and try and put them in the correct order to create a logical paragraph. The first thing I recommend to do is actually just to find out what the topic is of the paragraph before you try and do anything else. So you don't want to be reading each sentence and trying to order it. You want to read the first line of each sentence, just the first line. And then once you've done that for each one, you'll be able to say, this is a paragraph about shopping. This is a paragraph about cooking food. This is a paragraph about Mount Everest. So that's the first thing you want to do before you do anything else. And that takes you perhaps, 5 to 10 seconds. The next thing you want to do is work out which is the first sentence of the paragraph. And to do that, you have to eliminate all of the others. And you have to be able to say why you are eliminating all of the others. The final thing you do once you've found that first sentence is to work out what the connections are between the other sentences before deciding the complete order of the paragraph. It doesn't mean you have to find the first, then the second, then the third, so on. It means find the first, find connections between the others, and then try and pull the whole thing together. So let's put these 3 steps into practice them with a real task. Now in the exam, you'll have your sentences on the left-hand side, as you can see here, and you'll be dragging them across to the right-hand side of the screen to put them in the correct order. As this is a bit of a training program here, we won't be doing that, and I'm actually going to be writing something on the right-hand side of the screen. So the first thing I said we had to do was to work out what the topic of the paragraph is about. And I do that by reading the first line of each sentence. So let me show you what that looks like. First sentence, this bitter taste is a defensive feature which apple, cherry, and apricot seeds are not. It comes from a substance called amygdalin. This chemical turns into cyanide when they are hard, bitter, and unpleasant. So what I can understand about that is we're reading something about some fruit seeds and something to do with the bitter taste. Okay, that's it. I've got my idea. Now, step 2, I've got to work out which of those sentences is the first one and eliminate the others and tell you why I'm eliminating the others. And I would also make a note on my erasable notepad at this stage. So I'm going to show you on the right-hand side of the screen what I mean by that. Looking at the first sentence that we've got here, perhaps it's going to help if I label these first of all, so we know which one we're talking about. So looking at sentence A there, this sentence, I'm immediately eliminating it, and I'm going to show you why. When it says this bitter taste, it's referring back to a bitter taste that's already been mentioned in a previous sentence by the word this. It assumes you know which bitter taste we're talking about. So this cannot be the first sentence, so I have to eliminate it. On my erasable notepad, though, I'm going to make a note of that. So I'm going to put A and write that down. The reason I do that is because I don't want to have to keep going back through all the sentences and reading them and getting myself confused. I just need a quick list of what it is that was outstanding about that sentence that prevented me from using it as the first one, because it's going to help me connect other sentences later. Okay, so A eliminated. B, apple, cherry, and apricot seeds are not considered to be edible. Can't really find a good reason to eliminate it at the moment, so I'm going to leave it there and move on to the next one. C, it comes from a substance. I'm going to stop already. It. What is it? I don't even have to read the rest of the sentence to know that this one can't be first. So I've eliminated C because of the word it. I don't know what it is. Sentence D, this chemical. Oh, straight away I'm eliminating it because this chemical means I'm talking about a chemical I've already mentioned in a previous sentence. So I'm going to note that down. And then finally check sentence E. They are, they. What are they? I don't know. So that has now helped me understand that sentence B is my first sentence. It was the only one I couldn't find a reason to eliminate, and all of the others have a very strong reason to say why they're not the first sentence. Now, looking at the options we've got, it, this bitter taste, they, things like that. This bitter taste, I think I might go for that one. So I'm going to write A down here. Now, you could drag your B across the screen if you wanted to. I'd probably still work from my erasable notepad at this stage before dragging across. I'm going to say sentence A, this bitter taste. I have to find that bitter taste or something, some words related to that in another sentence. So sentence C, it comes from a substance called amygdalin. It's not clear that that's bitter. This chemical turns into cyanide when it comes into contact with acids in the human digestive system. Not exactly clear that it's bitter. I mean, not all chemicals have a taste as such. E, they are hard, bitter, and unpleasant. Oh, there it is. I've connected sentence A and sentence E together. So sentence A, this bitter taste, comes after the first reference to bitter, which is in sentence E. EA is connected. Okay. Now, what else have I got? This bitter taste is now gone. What have we got? They. E is they. They are hard, bitter, and unpleasant. Okay, it's obviously not going to be A because I've used that one. E, they, there's no reference to they and their. D, this chemical, there's no reference to they. So now I'm saying, hang on a second, doesn't it go BE? Because we've got apple, cherry, and apricot seeds. They, that's the only sentence where I've got a plural something, which could then relate to sentence E, they. So I've now managed to match E, B, and A together, which is making it much, much easier now to try and work out what happens with C and D. They're going to have to come after BEA because those three are definitely connected together. It's difficult to know because we've got it and this chemical. So it's kind of talking about the same thing. Let's try something here because it's not that clear to me at the moment. If I was to do A followed by C or A followed by D, how does that work? A, this bitter taste is a defensive feature which the plant produces to keep animals like us from destroying it. It comes from a substance called amygdalin. Okay, AC, I like that connection. Let's try AD instead. This bitter taste is a defensive feature which the plant produces to keep animals like us from destroying it. This chemical turns into cyanide when it comes into contact with acids in the human digestive system. This chemical and this bitter taste, not so sure about AD there because the bitter taste is, you're making that assumption again that a chemical is bitter and that's not necessarily true. But AC explains where it, the bitter taste, comes from. The bitter taste comes from a substance called amygdalin. Can I continue with D? This chemical, amygdalin, turns into cyanide when it comes into contact with acids in the human digestive system. So I've now found my order, BEACD, ready to drag my sentences across the screen into the answer panel. So you see how I used those three stages I talked about at the start. Read the first line to find out what the topic is. find the first sentence by eliminating the others and saying why I've eliminated them, and then use those as reasons for elimination to try and connect some of the other sentences together before eventually finding my order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope you found that useful. I will be making more videos on this subject, lots of practice to see how to apply this strategic approach to other types of sentences when it's not as clear as it is here. So please, if you found it useful, give me a like.